Do you still hate President Barack Obama?
We have some good news for you. He has to leave soon.
He legally cannot be president anymore. This year's field for 2016 is even bigger and...
Better?
Better?
Oh, God. I don't know.
So in today's video, we're going to go over the candidates so that you can have an educated, funny look at the state of American democracy.
Oh, yes.
First off, we have Marco Rubio.
Marco Rubio seems like a nice young man.
I like Marco Rubio.
Me too. I get the sense, being a foreign policy kind of guy, he knows what power is, how to use it, how it's defined, and that's really good. That's really good.
He comes off as the sort of person that you want to be making these policy decisions, which, as you'll find out, not super common in this field.
Not so, no.
I really like Rand Paul. I think he knows what he's talking about. He's principled on issues. He explains it. He also comes off as he knows what he's talking about. The only thing is he just picks some odd issues to be passionate about compared to the rest of the field.
In a general election, he'd probably be one of the most electable because he'd be able to draw some of the more moderate Democrats to his side.
Unfortunately, there is no way he makes it out of the primary. Do you guys remember how in 2012 social conservatism was like the big thing where everyone was like, who can be more anti-gay? Who can be more
pro-life, anti-abortion?
Yeah. Now take that whole election cycle, minus like Romney, who was the outlier, pack them all together into a not super likable candidate.
And we have Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is social conservatism defined. I wouldn't be mad if Ted Cruz got the nomination.
I'm just kind of meh on him. I don't care. Speaking of people that were meh about CHRISTIE, who until 2 months ago you would be forgiven for not knowing he was running for president.
Why is Christie here? What is he?
He's been doing decent in New Hampshire recently.
He has. That is true. He's just kind of like, he says everything that the conservatives want him to say.
So it's kind of a minor miracle that with all the pandering he's doing, he's not doing better. John Kasich occupies a special place in my heart. Not necessarily a good place, but he has a place.
He has a place.
He has a place. I like John Kasich because it seems like he's just trolling everyone else in all the debates.
That's his role. He just goes in there and rails against people for a little while.
But I don't really like John Kasich because he's just, all he's doing is just trolling everyone else in the debates. Like, why are you here?
Why is he here?
Do you actually want to run for president?
It seems like it would be a very expensive game for your own amusement.
Yeah, it costs millions of dollars. There's super PACs and all. Allegedly, Rick Santorum is running for president.
We've seen no evidence to prove this.
Yeah.
But if he is, we covered him in the last video.
So just see that one.
You remember how we talked about how Rubio knows what he's talking about, got the good ideals, and he seems competent in his field.
All about the military, has details, has specifics.
Understands power, all that.
FIORINA doesn't.
It's not true for her. She has all the right ideals, but when she starts talking about the execution, it becomes perfectly evident that she has no idea what she's doing. Absolutely no clue. Jeb! He can fix it!
Oh,
right.
Jeb Bush.
Right?
What do we say about Jeb?
What do we say about Jeb? Jeb is whiny. Jeb is the little brother who wants his time in office because George got to have some. Now he wants his turn.
I think the idea was Jeb comes from a long line of presidents. He would be a good president, right? Like, you have to pick up some of that by osmosis or genetics.
By osmosis. Just let the presidency rub off.
Yeah. All those Thanksgiving dinners. But no.
No. Number 9, Ben Carson. He seems like a nice person.
Yeah, I would love to have him at a Thanksgiving dinner. I'd love to talk with him.
Yeah.
I know I want him as president. He has this propensity for sticking his foot into his mouth in just the most extravagant manners imaginable.
He believes some rather amusing things.
Yeah, he says that he was offered a full-ride scholarship to West Point. But that's not true because there is no such thing as a full-ride scholarship to West Point because
it's free if you're in the military. Tuition is covered by the United States government.
Second, he never applied to West Point. And third, he listed a specific person who came and offered him the scholarship. We can look at the planner of that guy. He never met with Ben Carson.
He never met with Ben Carson. It's threefold untrue.
He said the Chinese have military stationed in Syria. Is that true?
That is not in any way, shape, or form true. No, the Chinese, the President of the United States, and many experts in the field all say that is not true.
No one thinks that there are Chinese in Syria. Except Ben Carson.
Except Ben Carson.
Other things Ben Carson believes. That the pyramids were built by Joseph from the book of Genesis.
To store grain.
No.
No.
That's
The pyramids were already ancient by the time Joseph got there. Currently, Donald freaking Trump is winning the Republican primary.
why? And by a significant margin.
By a huge margin.
Over 30%.
It's enormous.
On a personal level, he's just offended everyone. And yes, there's a degree to which he's an equal opportunity offender. He picks on everyone. But do we really want someone who is going to offend everyone as the spokesman, symbol, ambassador for our country? I don't really think so.
When other countries abroad think of the United States of America,
They think of the president.
They think of the president. They think of the man who holds that office. And do we want them thinking about Donald Trump?
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
Policy-wise, I mean, look at the things that he has said he would do. Make good deals. What does that mean? How does he plan to go about
Make America great again.
making America great again? Build a wall and have Mexico paid for it. I can tell you that building a wall across the entire United States-Mexico border would take a massive amount of time and manpower to build. And how in the world are you going to make Mexico pay for it?
And we don't have the money for that.
We don't have the money. We don't have the manpower. That would just be empty construction jobs.
And what are we going to do? Threaten Mexico that we go to war with?
We go to
pay for it.
Exactly.
What are we going to do?
How does it even make any sense?
This is just an encapsulation of Donald Trump. Well, maybe he just says what everyone's thinking. Well, then everyone is thinking the wrong things because PolitiFact went through his statements. They analyzed 73 statements of Donald Trump. Of them, how many of them were true, Alex?
Exactly one.
That is not someone you want as president, and even if you're okay with a little distortion of the facts, that's not someone you want going into a general election debate against the Democrats.
Absolutely
that is a recipe
not.
for the Democrats to win.
Donald Trump is riding a wave of populist energy. It's a cruder form of the energy that got Ronald Reagan elected in the 1980s, and it's a mirror image of the energy that got President Barack Obama elected. What will he do?
But do you really want another Barack Obama?
We
started this by saying that you probably hate him.
It's just a mirror image of President Barack Obama. They're two sides of the same coin. We ended our last video in 2012 saying we are young and idealistic. We are still young, but far less idealistic. Please, somebody help the Republican Party.
You're making a mistake. Do the right thing, guys. Marco Rubio.
Marco Rubio seems to be he's help me, Marco Rubio. You're my only hope.